Have you ever missed someone who's still alive? There are people who change your life without staying in it. And I don't think anyone really prepares you for that. When we're younger, we quietly believe something that the people who matter will always be there. Not forever necessarily, but long enough that we'll notice when it's ending. The strange part is, most of the time, we don't. One day you're talking to someone every afternoon, then life gets busy, schedules change, people move, dreams change, priorities shift, and without anybody making a decision, the chapter ends. I used to think every relationship was supposed to last. Not just romantic relationships, but friendships, mentors, coworkers, neighbors, even seasons of life. If someone mattered, I assumed they'd always have a place somewhere in the story. But life doesn't really work like that. Sometimes people don't leave because anyone did something wrong. Sometimes the chapter simply ends. I think that's one of the hardest lessons about growing older. Not everyone is meant to stay. And somehow, it doesn't make what you shared any less real. For a long time, I measured relationships by one thing: how long they lasted. If something ended, it almost felt like it failed. But lately, I've started wondering if I was measuring the wrong thing. Because when I think about the people who shaped me, I don't remember how long they stayed. I remember what they left behind. The confidence someone believed into me. The conversations that changed how I see the world. The habits I still carry. The memories that still make me smile. The lessons I didn't understand until years later. Maybe that's the real measure. Not how long someone stayed, but how deeply they changed you. There are people I'll probably think about for the rest of my life. Not because I wish everything was the same, but because without them, I genuinely wouldn't be the person I am today. Some of them are still alive. Some of them I could probably call. Some of them I'll never speak to again. And somehow, all of them still belong in my story. There's something beautiful about that, even if it hurt to realize. I used to think healing meant one day I'd stop thinking about certain people. That one morning I'd wake up and their name, their voice, the memories would just disappear. But that's not what healing has looked like. Healing hasn't been forgetting. It's been remembering without needing to rewrite the story. I don't think every relationship exists to last forever. I think some exist to prepare you for who you're becoming next. Sometimes someone teaches you how to trust. Sometimes they teach you how to let go. Sometimes they remind you what home feels like. Sometimes they show you parts of yourself you didn't know were there. And even after they're gone, those parts stay. One of the verses that stayed with me says, "We know that all things work together for the good of those who love God, who are called according to his purpose." When I first heard that, I thought it meant everything would eventually make sense. Now, I think it means something quieter. That even the chapters I would have never chosen aren't wasted in God's hands. Not every ending is punishment. Sometimes it's preparation. Sometimes God closes a chapter because he knows the next one needs different people, different lessons, a different version of you. That doesn't erase the pain, but it gives it purpose. Think about your favorite book. Imagine if every character stayed until the last page. It wouldn't be much of a story then. Some characters appear for one chapter. Some stay for half of the book. Some disappear so quietly, you don't even realize they're gone until later. But remove them, and the main character never becomes who they were meant to become. Maybe life is written the same way. Maybe the people who leave aren't mistakes in the story. Maybe they're the reason the story moves forward. I think one of the hardest things to accept is that you can love a chapter without trying to live inside of it forever. There's a difference. You don't have to pretend it didn't matter. You don't have to convince yourself you never cared. And you don't have to resent someone just because they weren't meant to stay. You can be thankful and still miss them. Those two things can exist together. Looking back, I've realized something. Every season of my life introduced me to a different version of myself. The kid who couldn't wait to get outside. The teenager who thought life would stay simple forever. The young adult trying to figure out where he belonged. The version of me who's still learning what faith really means. The version of me who's still building a future he can't fully see yet. None of those versions would have existed without the people who walked beside them, even if only for one chapter. Maybe that's why I'm starting to look at endings differently. Instead of asking, why didn't they stay? I'm trying to ask, what did they leave with me? Because when I answer that question, I realize they never really left empty-handed. They left memories, perspective, growth, a different way of seeing the world, sometimes even hope. Maybe that's all some people were ever meant to do. Walk beside us until we became someone capable of walking into the next chapter. So if there's someone you still think about sometimes, someone who shaped your life, even though they aren't part of it anymore, I hope you don't see that as proof that you're stuck. Maybe it's proof that they mattered, and maybe that's enough. Because not every person we love is meant to stay until the final page. But every person who truly changed us will always have a chapter. And when you look back years from now, you probably won't remember exactly how long they were there. You'll remember who you became because they were. Some people don't stay for the whole story. They stay long enough to help write it.